great ideas are never going to interrupt you. They have to be pursued. And if you don't pursue them, you're going to get what everybody else has, which is all this fear, all this uncertainty, all this stuff that won't work, because everybody's focused on what won't work, what can't happen. Why? Because they're afraid. They're afraid to fail. They're afraid to try and feel like they're not enough. So you got to stand guard of that mind by feeding your mind. Jim Rohn used to say to me, success leaves clues. If you want things to get better, you got to get better. If you want things to change, you got to change. But you got to do it deliberately and consciously. And he used to say to me constantly, he said, Tony, you've got to constantly find a way to feed that mind, something that's got strategy in it, philosophy, something that's going to improve the quality of your life. And if you really learn it, you can help the people you love with the things you learn. And so I got hooked. And so I decided I'm going to read a book a day. I took a speed reading course, and I didn't read a book a day, but I read 700 books over the period of 7 years, all in the area of philosophy, physiology, emotion, the things to me that mattered most. And what I really try to do is each day try to use something I learned, not just read, not just let my learning lead to knowledge. Jim used to say, if you let your learning lead to knowledge, you become a fool. If you let your learning lead to action, that's when your life changes. So I started being aware of who was saying what I was taking in. Jim used to say, success leaves clues. If someone's successful, they're not lucky. They're doing something different than you. Figure out what they're doing different. And he said, the first thing is find out what they're reading. I remember he said to me something funny. He said, find out what poor people read and don't read it. And when he said poor, he didn't just mean financially poor. He meant people that were unhappy, people that had no sense of meaning in their life, people that were financially strapped because they weren't managing to add value to other people, people that found themselves not taking care of their relationships in their body. Poor isn't just money. Wealth isn't just money. It's emotional, spiritual, everything. He said, so find out what successful people do, what wealthy people read, what happy people read, and read that.
Want to be happy? Build a life, not just a business. Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and this channel was created to help you overcome the #1 challenge that is holding you back, a lack of belief in yourself. You watch these videos because you know there's something more inside you too. You've got Michael Jordan level genius at something. So today, let's live your best belief life and learn how to raise our standards with Tony Robbins. Enjoy. Rule number 2, decide what to focus on.
Every moment of your life, you're answering 3 questions. First question is, what are you going to focus on? So the most powerful decision we make, and most of us don't make it consciously, is what are we going to focus on? We don't focus on everything. We focus on a small number of things, and that's what we experience in life. Because you could be focusing right now on the blood rushing through your left ear or the touch of your clothes against your skin, but you don't. Most of what your brain does is distort, delete, and generalize to make life simple. And the problem is when you distort, delete, and generalize, you miss a lot of your life. And focus, write down, equals feeling. Whatever you focus on, you're going to feel, even if it's not true. If I asked you, there are 2 things you could focus on, what you have or what's missing. Which one do you spend more time focusing on? If your brain is constantly focusing on what's missing, how can you ever sustain happiness no matter how successful you become? It is impossible. What happens when you focus on what you have? You feel alive. You feel no scarcity. You feel joy. How many of you have lots of things in your life that if you focused on it, you could feel grateful for, you could feel excited about? How many got lots of things like this now? Say I. But it doesn't exist unless you focus on it. And we all have patterns of focus. Do you tend to focus more on what you can control or what you can't control, what's outside your control? What is someone going to feel is constantly focused on what's missing and what they can't control? Sad, frustrated, angry, depressed? So why are they still depressed? Because they're still focusing on what's missing. And they're focused on what they can't control. And I'll add one more. Do you tend to focus more on things from the past, the present, or the future? We all do all 3. But if you're going to spend your predominant time and you want enjoyment, it's the present. If you want to create a great life, it's the future. So it's a balance between the present and future. These 3 patterns alone can change your whole life. The second question is, what does this mean? Because the minute you focus on something, you have to give it a meaning. Is this the end or the beginning? Is God punishing me? That's why this problem happened? Is God challenging me? Or is this problem a gift from God? See, if you think it's the end of a relationship, are you going to feel the same way, act the same way as if you think it's the beginning of a relationship? Yes or no? No. The meaning changes the answer to the third question, which is, what am I going to do? Because meaning equals emotion. Whatever you give a meaning, you're going to have a feeling. If you think God is punishing you, you're going to have a very different feeling from that meaning than you think God is challenging you or this problem is a gift from God. These 3 questions are happening every moment of your life. And if you're not careful, they take control of you. We are the people that create the quality of our life. We got to change what's going on here and here.
Rule number 3, expand your identity.
Why is identity so important for us to shape a positive, powerful identity?
Well, first of all, so everybody understands what I mean by identity is we all have a way of identifying ourselves. We have a way of labeling ourselves. So most of us came up with our labels based on how we behaved. But really smart people can do stupid things. Really nice people can be mean. Mean people can be nice. And so if you judge yourself too soon, and most people's identity, their labels for themselves, who they think they are, has been based on their past and often many years ago. And so they don't update it. So the metaphor I'd give for identity is like, it's your comfort zone. It's not your goals. So if you took a temperature in the room and it said 68 degrees is my comfort zone, physically, emotionally, financially, I want more in my relationship. I want more physically, energy-wise. I want more financially in my career, but this is what I'm used to. And so what happens? People stay in their comfort zone for the most part. And then let's say something happens and you dip. You're a 68 degree, or that's your mentality, and you drop down to 62, 61, 60, somewhere around 60 or 59, the heaters kick on and go, whoa, whoa, whoa. You're a 68 degree, or what the hell are you doing? We've all experienced that. All of a sudden you go, I'm not gonna live like this anymore. I'm not gonna be in this relationship. I'm not gonna be fat like this. Boom, and you get this drive and you start to change. But what most people don't understand is it happens on the upper end too. Meaning, let's say you got momentum, you start crushing it, you start doing even better than you think. You go from 68 to 70, 88, you're at 98 degrees. Financially, emotionally, spiritually, whatever the metaphor is. And then what happens? You're going to say, hey, your brain goes, who the hell do you think you are? You're not a 98 degreeer, right? Get back to 68. And if nothing else, the heaters stop, you lose your drive, and that'll drift you back. And not enough, the air conditioner can kick on, you start to kind of sabotage yourself till you get back to your comfort zone. So unless you expand your identity, change is temporary. It's like when someone says to me, I've stopped smoking, it's been 8 days. And I go, why are you counting? And I say, why are you counting? So you can tell people how long you lasted this time? Ooh. Like if I went to somebody and I said to you, hey, Louis, you want a cigarette? You're not going to say, what brand is it? You go, no, right. I'm not a smoker. Notice how I'm not one of those. That's not my identity. Identity is the strongest force in the human personality. If you look at Lance Armstrong, who has a mixed identity now in the culture, this is a guy that had to win and found a way to win. So when he was told he had cancer in his lungs, in his brain, and in his testicles, and he rides a bike, and he's going to die, his answer was, no, I'm a champion. I find the way. I will find the answer. And he did. Now, unfortunately, he bent the rules around the sport, and it kind of ruined his reputation, obviously. But that mentality, his identity is why he survived. Other people told they have cancer, and they're like, it's over. They give up. They start arranging their affairs. And so that psychological difference is the number one thing I work with people on, because unless you expand your identity, you're going to basically keep where you are. You might improve a little or not. You might go up and down a bit, but you're going to stay within a realm. If you're going to have an explosive breakthrough to another level, physically, mentally, financially, spiritually, then we got to not only give you the tools, we got to shift that internal sense of who you really are and have you find that you are more than anything that's ever happened to you, that you can handle whatever shows up, even if it's incredibly scary or uncomfortable.
Rule number 4, change your psychology.
The difference between making it or not is psychology and skill. You need them both. And honestly, skill is the smaller of the two. I'm going to give you a ton of strategies this week. I'm going to do psychology first, and you're going to see why as this day goes by, because you're going to discover when people stand up and we figure out what's the chokehold on their business, 80% of the time, it's going to be their psychology. The chokehold on the growth of your business is the psychology and skills of the leader, period. That's it. And if we change those two things, skills too, marketing skills, financial intelligence, recruiting, training, all those things. We train those too. Don't get me wrong. We got to do the skills also. But I could give you every skill. How many of you have learned it before that was invaluable from some source, a mentor, a coach, an event, a university, I don't know what. And you were excited about it, and then you never actually followed through. Who's done this before? Say, I. Listen, knowledge is not power. Execution trumps knowledge every day of the week. My goal is to make you execute. I can't make you, but I can get you where you tap into that part of yourself. And that shift is the most important shift of these few days.
Also, to make sure you're actually taking action after watching this video, I've designed a special free worksheet just for this video. The worksheet will highlight all of the lessons learned in this video, as well as pull out our 3 favorite learnings and quotes that will inspire you to actually do something. The worksheet will also give you space to write down what your key takeaways are and your specific plan of action to make sure you're getting results. If you want the worksheet designed specifically for this video, absolutely for free, there's a link in the description below. Go click on it and start building the momentum in your life and your business. I'll see you there. Rule number 5, feed your mind.
I developed this little system, and the system is really simple. And I tell people now, as I say, number 1, every single day, you got to feed and strengthen your mind. Until you do that, you're always going to be in fear. Because fear is automatic. The human brain is designed for survival. It's not designed for success. Your brain is not designed to make you happy. That's your job. And the only way you're going to do it is if you feed your mind, because otherwise, weeds grow automatically. My coach, my mentor, Jim Rohn, used to tell me, so Tony, every day you got to stand guard at the door of your mind. You got to watch what's going in, because if you're not careful, stuff will go in. And he said, not all the times it's somebody who cares about you. He said, you know, if your
family,
if your worst enemy puts sugar in your coffee, he said, what happens? I said, you got sweet coffee. He goes, what if your best friend by accident, or your family, don't mean to, they drop 1 drop of strychnine in your coffee, you're dead. He said, so life, sugar, and strychnine, and watch your coffee, right? So every day I decided, I'm old enough, honestly, there was no internet those days. I'm pretty ancient. I used to go to the library, because it's the only place you go. And I'd read biographies, I'd read people's lives, and it'd make me go, wait a second, as bad as I think it is, the greatest people in the world had it worse. So there's something here. So you feed your mind. Jim Rohn used to say to me, skip a meal, but don't skip reading. He said, read 30 minutes a day. I don't give a damn what it is. And today, I don't mean internet crap. I mean, read something, a biography, read something that's a strategy, read something that's going to change your life.
Rule number 6, unlock your own true nature.
All of us, we could take our work and think of work as being like a gift. I personally believe that one of the greatest gifts outside my love that I can give another human being is my labor. But there's 3 gifts of labor you might have within your nature, meaning you can master anything, but under stress, people tend to go back to their true nature. And there are 3 gifts of labor that you can give. One of those gifts we might call the gift of being an artist, or a talent, or another word for it would be a truly skilled producer. Some people, the reason you know this is your gift is what you love to do is to create a product or service and deliver it to people, and you're enamored by that. The woman over here who was doing the work, if you recall, in hospice, she would be a perfect example of an artist. She's not in it. She wants to make money, don't get me wrong, but she would never trade the money for the impact. So when someone is in it as an artist, and by the way, most businesses are started by artists. There's somebody who was an amazing negotiator, an amazing fashion designer, amazing code writer. And they said, I work for this company and they don't do a good job for customers and I can do a better job. I don't work for them, and they start their own company thinking that the company is all driven just by the sales or the negotiation or the code or the fashion. But a company is much more complex than that, especially as it grows. So an artist is in it for the impact. And yes, they want to make money, don't get me wrong, but it's not the first thing and they won't trade it. When I talk to artists about selling their business, they look at me like I'm trying to sell their child. The second gift you might have is the gift of being a manager leader. A manager leader is someone who lives to manage people and processes. They love to figure out how to maximize a business by changing the gears, creating a new process, working with people. And those people love it. Now, they are not artists in that their talent or skill, they're not there delivering it directly to the client. They want to work on the people that are directly delivering the client. They want to work on the system that makes this business work. And so they think it differently. They're inspired by different things. They make different decisions. Is one better or worse than the other? Yes or no? No, they're just different. And by the way, you might say, I have both those skills. I bet you do, but they're not equal because they're different types of skills. So you might have them both, but there's one that is your true nature, that when things are going well, you're going to go back to it. When things are really up, you're going to go back to it. Under stress and under excitement, we return to our nature. By the way, a great company can't be great without great artists, talent, who really deliver extraordinary products or services. A company cannot maintain greatness and grow unless they have some great manager leaders who can run the process and the people. They're both critical components. The third choice of service, the true gift you can give, is that of an entrepreneur. And while most of you in this room would call yourself an entrepreneur and you would be entrepreneurial, by this definition, it's a little different. Most people think of an entrepreneur as anybody who starts multiple businesses. No, that's not true. Some artists are multiple businesses because they want to get all kinds of things for all kinds of people. Some managers want to do multiple businesses so they feel like they have multiple systems. But an entrepreneur is in it for one thing, the juice of risk. They want to make money. And by the way, an entrepreneur, will they sell this business? Yes or no? For the right price, they'll sell anything. And their mindset is, sell it, I'll start another one. Sell it, I'll buy another one. They are not attached. They might enjoy the product or service. They might be proud of the product or service, but they're in it for the risk. And they're the kind of person that when they lose massively, they jump up, dust themselves off, and want to do it again.
Rule number 7, use pain to grow.
Why is it that we often wait to experience pain before we decide to change a part of our lives, make a different choice, to create a shift? Why is it that we wait so often for stress and pressure?
I had that question was burning in me because, I was traveling around, had the privilege of this stage of life, traveling around the earth and working with people from every walk of life, right? 100 plus countries I've worked in. And I'd see the same problems, even though you be in different cultures. Like, go to an Asian culture, it's not about the individual, it's about the group, right? But I'd still see the same problems. And then I got obsessed with it. Like, okay, what's the common human experience? Because I'm seeing the same problems, even though it's a different culture, even though it's different beliefs. Right? And I began to realize that there are certain human needs. And there were 6 that I identified that I've used ever since, and it's helped me understand. And so one of those needs is certainty. And it's the base human need. Certainty that you can avoid pain and that you can be comfortable is the most basic need. It's a survival need, because if you have continuous pain, that's continuous damage. Continuous damage equals death, right? But what happens for people is most people, that first basic need is where they live. They don't grow. Another need, the second need, is uncertainty. Because ironically, if you're certain all the time, you're bored out of your mind. If you're completely uncertain, you're kind of freaked out. And a balance is not it. It's the ability to use both, enter both worlds. And then there's the need for significance, which is a big part of our culture today, thanks to social media. That need to feel special, unique, important, right? It can be a very positive emotion or need. It can be very negative depending upon how it's used, how it's directed. And then there's the need for connection and love, which everybody has. And those 4 needs, everybody finds a way to meet. If you have to lie to yourself, work 20-hour days, you're going to find certainty somehow. You're going to find variety. You're going to find some form of significance. Some people do it by tearing other people down. Some people do it by working harder. It's different. You're going to find some level of at least connection, if not love. But the final 2 are what make people feel alive, which is growing. Everything in the universe grows or dies. And contributing. Everything in the universe contributes or it's eventually eliminated by evolution. So those are the spiritual needs, growth and contribution, where you get beyond yourself. And I think that the majority of us don't take moves because of fear, and fear is just uncertainty. It's that base need. And when I go around and I describe this in more detail, and I work with a big audience, 15, 20,000 people, and I'll say, have them do a set of exercises and have them figure out where do they get, what triggers them to be certain or uncertain, what triggers them to have variety and so forth. So they understand that like everything I do is to meet these needs. But then I get them to say, what are your top 2? Not what you think they should be, not what you want them to be. What are they? And 90% of the people in our culture are certainty and significance or significance and certainty, even though they really want love. So they have this route, like if I can be successful enough, then I'll be worthy of it. Or if I can just control it enough and know it's that way, but you can't control love, right? And so most people they're trying to meet their needs in a kind of a backwards way. And I think that fear, that uncertainty is what keeps most people from growing until they get enough pain. And then that pushes them through a threshold where their needs aren't being met. They got to change. And unfortunately, most people wait till they have enough pain. Now, that's not my preference.
Rule number 8, do what makes you feel alive.
Ultimately, I really believe that probably the most sacred thing in our lives that we can give another human being besides our love is our labor. You think about it, your labor is your energy, it's your time, it's your emotion, it's your intellect, it's your spirit to some extent. And if you can find a way where what you do for a living activates that sense of what you're made for, then work is not work, whether you be in Fiji or whether you be in an environment that might seem less exciting and promising in the moment. And trust me, I worked in plenty of those too, but with the same level of excitement and passion, because I found what turns me on, that makes me feel alive, makes me feel like I'm doing something that's worthwhile. And on Labor Day, I think a lot of people, it's just a holiday to get away and take time off of labor. And my hope is to trigger you to think about how could you turn your labor into your love? I think it was Mark Twain who said, when your vocation becomes your vacation, that's when life becomes truly magnificent. And I'm privileged enough to have that, but pursued it. And one of the secrets that I found, and I know you know this in your soul, is that we all know if you're going to be masterful at something, you don't show up, as the best in the world at something. You don't show up in environments that you want to be in. You get there because you did things for thousands and thousands of hours. Most of you know the concept of mastery taking 10,000 hours. It's an arbitrary number, but I'm sure you've heard about it. You want to get really good at something, it's 10,000 hours, because when you do something enough, with enough intensity, enough intention to constantly get better, when your labor is your love, and where your labor is something you have to always get better at, then usually what happens is you get these insights that allow you to serve more. But I also think that labor, we're talking about this weekend, what makes people fulfilled by their labor is their motives for it. If your motive is just to make money or just to pay your bills or just to get rich or whatever you think that's going to be, those people never really are fulfilled even if they make the money. The most fulfilled human beings in my experience, and I've had the privilege of working with literally 4 million people from 125 countries now around the world, the people that are most alive, regardless of the economics, are people that have found something that they really feel the motive is more than just themselves. We all know what it feels like when you're trying to do for something for someone you love and you're not doing it as a trade, you're not trying to get something back, you're just doing it because it's what you're made for. And I always tell people motive does matter. That if you're just doing something for yourself, there's nothing wrong with that because life supports whatever else supports life. If you're part of life and you're trying to do something that's going to make your life better, I think the universe, God, whatever proper term for you, whatever your belief system is, infinite intelligence gets connected to you and it gives you insights. But I think if you're trying to serve more than yourself, more life than just you, when things support more of life shows up to support you. And that might sound kind of airy-fairy, but it's my experience. When you're trying to support your family, when suddenly I had 4 kids, 3 of them overnight, my life changed, my intellect changed, my abilities changed because I was trying to serve something more than just me. When I started really focusing on how to serve a community and then a country and then humanity, as corny as it may sound, you get insights you won't get when you're just trying to somehow, make your labor happen or get the job done. So labor could be love, and it isn't for most people. Most people, I think, are unhappy in their life because they look at labor as work. They look at it as, why should I have to effort so much? And in my experience, effort is the reward. If you are doing something you love, it's there. So if you don't have it, you might say, Tony, that's all wonderful. You're in Fiji and you do what you love and I don't have that. Thanks so much for giving me the lecture. I'm not coming from that place. I'm coming from the place of saying you can discover something that you're really passionate about, but in order to do it, you got to get out of the story of what you can't do and you got to put yourself on the line.
Rule number 9, trade your expectations for appreciation.
Here is the secret to ending your suffering. Trade your expectations for appreciation and your whole life will change in that moment. The minute you appreciate something, your suffering is gone. It's just your expectations that are stressing you out. And sometimes not meeting your expectations will cause you to come up with a new way to grow or a new way to do something that's better than what you did before. What would your life be like if you made this decision today for real? Screw everything else. We've got a million other things we're going to do to improve your life. What if you really made a real decision? You said, I am not suffering anymore. Life is too short to suffer. I'm going to live in a beautiful state. I'm going to have a good time every day, no matter what. And I'm going to catch myself. I know I'll get off target for a minute, but I'll catch it and get right back in a beautiful state. The minute you stop complaining about your kids, but you look at the things you love in them, the minute you stop complaining about your partners and you think about what's a better way to get through them, this is a chance for me to grow and expand. The minute you appreciate anything, your suffering is over. Because loss, less, and never is always a lie. You don't lose something, you gain a new option. You aren't in a place where you can never do it again except when you believe that. Because whatever you believe, you're going to live. A new set of appreciations and suffering is over. Remember, there's an old phrase, it says, don't sweat the small stuff. And the second rule is, it's all small stuff, right? What would life be like if all the things you get frustrated by or stressed about or worried about, if you just wouldn't indulge in them anymore? If you started to, you'd catch it within 30 seconds or less and snap out of it and find yourself focusing on something you could appreciate or something you'd love or something you're grateful for or someone you love. If you were to train your mind and heart and body to live in a beautiful state every day, no matter what, how much more magnificent would your life be? How much more joy would fill your body? Because when you're grateful, suffering disappears, doesn't it? You can't be angry and grateful simultaneously. They don't go together. Every problem is temporary. Only your soul is permanent.
And rule number 10, the last one before some very special bonus clips, is make progress.
When you look at what makes people really feel alive, there's very few things that compete with growing and, of course, giving. And where does growth come from? First of all, without it, life feels pretty dead inside. We're all trying to mark something that gives us a sense of aliveness. People ask me all the time, what does it really take to be happy? And I can give it to you in one word: progress. Progress equals happiness. Did you ever achieve a goal and then after you achieve it said, is this all there is? And so you got to think to yourself, why don't I stay happy? I work so hard at this. Why doesn't it stay fulfilled? Because life is not about you just getting your goals. My teacher, Jim Rose, used to say something that was so profound when I was 17 years old. He said, what you get will never make you happy. It doesn't matter what you get. Who you become, that'll make you very happy or very sad. See, ultimately, we have challenges so that we can grow, and we have growth so we have something to give. And it's the giving that makes us feel alive and the growing that makes us feel alive. And so if you don't grow consciously, here's the challenge part. Life will show up and give you something to grow from. And success, fulfillment, aliveness is not one thing you did one time. It's all the little things. It's saying I love you. It's stepping up. It's doing what's right, even when no one else will reward you. Those little things are the things that make you grow, and that growth is what makes you feel alive. Listen, there's only one really set of laws in the universe. Everything grows or it dies. And everything ultimately contributes or it's eliminated by evolution, if nothing else. So the imperative for you and I is to understand that growth isn't always easy. In fact, the easy stuff rarely makes you grow. Listen, there is no failure as long as you learn something, because that learning leads to growth. That growth leads to something where you can build something, create something, or give something to yourself, others, your family, or to have something that's meaningful. So where are you not growing that you can make some progress on this week? Just tackle one thing. Is it your body? Is it your relationship? Is it your level of happiness? That's growth. Just to find happiness or joy or meaning in difficult situations. Those types of progresses will lead to an extraordinary quality of life. Grow or die. How's that for an uplifting message? One way you'll know you're growing is when things that used to be big seem little to you. Give yourself 20, 30 minutes every day. Listen to something that inspires you, or read a book, something with philosophy or strategy that can improve the quality of your life, your career, your family, your happiness, your joy, something. Because great ideas have to be pursued. Answers don't interrupt you. They have to be pursued. And if they're pursued with enough focus, enough caring, enough compassion, enough drive, you'll find answers that'll help you to grow. And if you don't, life's going to challenge you anyway. So why not push yourself out there with some new goals, some new desires that you proactively create that stimulate the growth that make you fulfilled. And instead of expecting the joy lasts forever, just know life is progress, baby. Growth is everything. Growth will give you more to give. And as you give more, you'll love more. You'll love yourself, you'll love your life, and you'll be a source of generous loves to others.
You are where you are in life and business because of your standards. It's just not important enough for you yet to hit that next level. For you, for me, for all of us, we've settled. We've settled for what currently is and haven't demanded from ourselves that we reach that next level. Change your standards, change your life. So I was recently talking to Alex on my team, and he helps me run Toronto Dance Salsa, the largest dance school for salsa in North America, probably. And he recently went through this weight loss challenge, and he lost, I don't know, I want to say 30 pounds. And now he's sticking to this really thin line of between 150 and 155 pounds. That's his goal, that's his standard. When he's getting close to 155, he slows down on the eating, and when he's around 150, he has a little bit more, and he's constantly staying in this band because he set a new standard for himself. Even though he might have been 180 or 185 before, now anywhere close to 155 is gonna be too much. Like, that's it. That's my new standard. That's the lowest I'm gonna go, which is crazy high compared to what he was before. He's now trying to bring that same standard to his business. So what he's trying to do every day now is, if you follow him on Instagram, is he's posting at the end of the day how proud he is of the effort he put in. How proud is he of the effort that he put in out of 10? And sometimes you see it's 5.5, sometimes you see it's a 7, and every now and then it's an 8 or even a 9. how proud he is of the effort that he put in. This is now the area where he needs to raise his standards. And I was talking to him yesterday, and a big breakthrough that happened was, said, Alex, you lost 30 pounds, man, or more from your weight loss journey. Now, the idea of being over 155 is crazy when you used to be 180, right? Or 185, it's crazy. You need to take that same approach to your business, to your effort, that you're proud of yourself every day for what you're doing. Anything under 8 should be considered a cheat day. Anything under 8 is like you had a cheat day on your diet. Every now and then on his weight loss journey, he had a cheat day. He had a moment of weakness. He went for a giant pizza and a cake because he was starving and he couldn't control himself. But it was these one-off moments, right? It was like once every 3 weeks or something, and he continued down. That now needs to be your daily effort. If it's under 8, that's like you're eating cake and pizza. 8 needs to be the new waterline, that if you're getting close to it, it's like, holy cow, I need to work harder. I need to accomplish. I need to go off and do. Just like 155 now is that benchmark for himself. And putting into those terms made sense for him because he had higher standards now for himself in what he ate, in how he took care of his body, than he did for what he was doing into his business. And so it's the same thing for you. You want to grow, you want to get better, you want to improve, you have to raise your standards. You have to now not settle for where you're at, because where you're at's good. This is the problem. Good is the enemy of great, right? Where you're at's good, it's good. It's not amazing, but it doesn't suck, because if it sucked, if you hated it every day, you would have to find a way out. But because it's good, you don't do it. You don't change. It's not important enough for you to want to get to that next step. That's what I want to force in this video. I'm going to give you 3 ways to do it. Step number 1 is understand where do you need to have a higher standard? Where in your life do you need to have a higher standard? What's the thing that you want more of? Alex did it in his health and his weight. Now he's applying it to his business and his life. For you, where is it? Is it your health? Is it your business? Is it learning the skill set? Is it posting content every day? Like, where is it that you need to have a higher standard for yourself? Be specific, be clear, write it down. Step number 2 is surround yourself with it daily. One of the greatest things that you need to do that really helps you raise your standards is be around people who are more high achieving in that thing. Be around people who are more high achieving in the thing that you want to get great at, the thing that you are weak at. So if I was hanging around bodybuilders all day, I'd probably work out a lot more, right? Because everybody's doing it, because they have a higher standard. Where I might let myself off the hook for not doing a workout, I'm going to see them crushing it. They're going to lift me up. They'll just have to. They'll lift me up. And I'm going to make them believe in themselves more. That's just going to happen. I was on Twitch streaming last night, League of Legends, and a guy said, man, you're so positive. Twitch is such a negative, toxic place, and you're here spreading positivity. Like, yeah, and I'll keep doing it. And no matter who comes in who's negative and toxic, I am more confident in my positivity and belief than you are in your negativity and toxicity. And so I will make you doubt yourself because of my confidence. Whoever's more confident wins. And so the trick is you're very confident in some things and not so confident in other things. The things that you want to get good at, right? Things that you want to get great at. The things that you want to get great at, not good. Things that you want to get great at. You don't have a high degree of confidence in your ability to do it. You need to be around people who have a high degree of confidence and are doing it. Whether that's actually face-to-face, but it could be through videos. It could be through books. It could be through podcasts. If you are trying to get healthy, you're trying to lose weight, you're trying to gain strength, and you're following people on Instagram and watching videos that motivate you every day, it's in your environment every day, it will just pull you up. My videos, my channels, I use for myself because it makes me feel more believed. I surround myself with Tony Robbins every day, and Steve Jobs every day, and Kanye West every day, and Oprah Winfrey every day. They're in my ear. They're in my ear. They're pulling me up, and they can do that for you as well. So whatever it is that you want to raise your standard in, surround yourself every day with that content, with those people. And then step number 3 is schedule for success. The mindset is the first part, but then you got to do something. You want to accomplish a new level. Amazing. What are you going to do every day? Show me in your calendar. Pull out your calendar. Pull out your, week to week, from this Sunday until the next Sunday, from 7 days in between. What are you going to do? Show me in your calendar where you're spending time developing this new habit, fixing your new mindset, putting the actual work in. You want to gain muscle? Awesome. It's great to be around people who are doing it, but then you have to actually put in your calendar, I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to start lifting some weights. You want to create YouTube content? Amazing. It's great maybe to be inspired watching me or other YouTube creators, but nothing happens until you pick up your phone and you start filming something. And that has to be in your calendar. If you hope for something to happen, it's not going to happen. If you hope for something to happen, it's not going to happen, right? This is something that you have a slipping standard on. You know you want to get better at, and so it has to be in your calendar. You have to schedule for success. This is what new success looks like for you. Great. Your success is your habits. So schedule it in. That every week or every day or every month, however often you need to do it, it's in there, it's happening. You're going to raise your standards because of it. Because you made it this far in a video, I want to celebrate you. Most people start and don't finish. Most people never actually follow through. Most people say they want something, but they don't ever do the work to actually get it. But you are different. You are special. Believe Nation, you made it here all the way to the end, and I love you. So as a special celebration, if you put a hashtag believe down in the comments below on this video, I will showcase you and celebrate you somewhere on the screen in a future video because you are awesome. To see my recent one-on-one with Tony Robbins, check the video right there next to me. I think you'll love it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
Precision medicine, billionaires know about it, but the average person doesn't. What pushed me over the edge recently is I had some experiences that really hit me hard. And the accident was so severe that the prognosis was that my career was over.